Tom, these six pieces are some of the most famous six pieces of music ever written, but they have an interesting title. Could you tell us a bit about that?
Well, yes. So the title is in Italian, and on the title page of Bach's manuscript, in the largest block of letters, it simply says one 3-letter word and one 4-letter word, and the two words are sei solo. But has been noticed and pointed out, that carries with it a contradiction. If he was saying 6 solos, he would have changed the second word to soli to agree with the plural. But he's left it open, and that means that the first word is exploited for its double meaning as both the number 6 and the second person of the verb to be, sei in Italian. So roughly, literally translated, it will be you are alone or be alone. And as with everything that Bach wrote, here's a man who was fluent in Latin, some Hebrew, some Greek. He knew the Bible backwards, also French, German. He knew exactly what he was saying. So I've got no doubt that is very significant.
And do you feel there's a quality of aloneness in this music?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, just as a performer, the moment you step out and start to play this music, there is nothing else that feels as lonely as doing that. You're denied all the usual get-outs of the gladiator soloist. There is nothing bravura, there is nothing effective that you can pull out of a bag of tricks, to kind of release that. So you're in a very concentrated bubble of playing on your own, without a break. I mean, some of the movements in this set, the chaconne, for instance, is at least 15 minutes, even if you play it fast. I mean, I think I take a bit longer. Some of the fugues are over 10 minutes. So you are very much alone as a performer. And I think what one is trying to do is, in a way, get comfortable enough to make that aloneness the stuff of what you communicate, so that it becomes not something to be fought against, but the very texture of what you're trying to say, or what you're trying to allow to be said through that little wooden box that one is scraping in front of people. Yeah.
And why do you think Bach might have written these pieces about aloneness?
Okay. Yes. Well, there is a lot of circumstantial evidence to suggest, although we've got nothing to prove this, there are no letters, there's nothing concrete from Bach's time, except a little bit of anecdotal evidence from his son, Karl, talking to Bach's early biographer, and he tells the story. So on the front page of this manuscript also is the date, and that's 1720. So we know that in the summer of 1720, Bach went on a trip with his employer, the Prince of Anhalt-Köthen, with whom, unusually, he got on very well. Bach, not the easiest man to employ, but they got on very well. They became, in whatever was the sort of conventions of the time, I mean, he was employed. He was an employed person to produce entertainment and edification for the prince, but nevertheless, he was several rungs down. But they seem to have had a very good and close relationship, even, one can guess. So they go away on this trip, some miles away, where the prince takes the waters or whatever, and he takes some of his court musicians with him. Bach is with him. And the story is that when Bach returns in July of that year, he arrives back to find, even as he crosses his own threshold, the news that Maria Barbara, his wife, has sickened and died very suddenly in his absence, and no word has got. So he finds out that she's already buried when he gets home. So it is tempting, and I would say once one gets to know the pieces, it's very clear that this is what he's writing about. So he also writes book 1 at the bottom. So we guess that this is book 1, this set of 6 for the violin is book 1, perhaps the cello suites for which there is no manuscript by Bach, there is a manuscript by Anna Magdalena, his second wife, would be book 2, but it doesn't actually say so. So that's what it's about, it seems to me. It's about bereavement and, if you like, a realigning of his relationship, well, of a bereaved person's relationship with whatever certainties existed before and what this event means. That's what I think about. That's what I believe the whole thing is about.
Stephen, did you try to do anything to help catch this sense of aloneness?
Yes, good question. I mean, the thing about a recording studio environment is that actually you can create a sense of aloneness. I mean, we often record in churches, although on this occasion we didn't, we were at Abbey Road, but we did our best to create a solitary atmosphere. We dimmed the lights. I think we would have liked to have lit some candles if health and safety would have allowed, to create a sense of aloneness. And also, I left Tom alone a lot of the time. He was out there playing, and you know, the conventional relationship between a producer and an artist is that you talk. You talk it through, what's happened, and you talk about what was right and what was wrong and what can be improved. And of course we did do that, but I also quite often just let him be in the you know, this huge acoustic of Abbey Road.
It's a big space.
Yeah, I mean it's like a little cathedral. It sounds like one. So yeah, that's how I went about creating a sense of aloneness, really.
And you decided not to micro-edit, if my understanding is right.
No, that's not quite right, actually. We decided to record entire pieces where possible, and certainly entire movements. We very rarely did anything less than that. Occasionally we did. But recording complete takes doesn't mean that you won't make a lot of edits if you want to or need to. Because all you need is 2 takes, 2 complete takes, and you can edit every other note if you want. Didn't do that, but at times there is a lot of editing, actually. Other times long stretches where Tom is just flying. So a bit of a mixture, really.
But you didn't kind of take out every extraneous noise, or?
No, personally they don't bother me. Well, it depends what it is. Some extraneous noises can be distracting, and you take them out if you can. But you know, we're dealing with a human being playing very human music. I think if you airbrush all those things out, you end up with something unbelievable.